Hey, you guys. I feel weird every time. Especially now that we're recording visually again.
I know, it's been a minute.
If you're watching on YouTube, hey.
What up?
Welcome to our house. This is our new house, and we feel pretty weird about the way that it looks on camera right now.
Yeah, it's
because it's just different from what it was, right?
That's right. And I think that as we start to move more things around and buy more things, it'll look better.
Doesn't it feel
in our
empty
eyes
back there? Maybe a little bit.
I don't know. It just is it's different, I think.
Yeah. Well, anyways, hey, welcome back.
Yeah, welcome.
We missed you guys. Hope you had a great week and weekend.
Yeah.
Madison did.
Yeah, I did. I did have a really good weekend. Yeah, I went back home.
The look she gave me was like, what?
Did I? No, I did have a really good weekend. This is like the first time we've been able to hang out with each other for like 4 days. But yeah, I went back home and I visited my family, and we had family friends come into town, and it was so nice. Like, I needed it really badly.
Yeah, Madison walked in the door and I was like, wow, that is a different person right there.
Yeah.
Like, the energy you had with you, I feel like was just light and airy.
Yeah, it's definitely
and
a lot
better. Not that you were heavy before, but it's just more so like I could tell that you are refreshed.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel better. It's really interesting because I was thinking about this when I was down there, up there this weekend, is that even as a kid, like, I love hanging out with, I know we're adults, but I am like very accustomed to hanging out with people who are way older than I am.
Yes.
And that's always been like that, like, since I was a kid. And for some reason, when I was in that situation this weekend, I remembered back to when I was a kid, and I felt like that sense of comfort. Isn't that so interesting? Like,
I've
it's
always
really
liked
weird.
hanging out with people older too.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't either.
And sometimes, like, I'll find myself being in situations with people who are our age, and like, I'll have some sort of social anxiety before I hang out with them, versus like with people older, I don't feel the pressure.
I was just gonna say, maybe it's a pressure thing of like
you need to fit in or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe you relate more to people who are like your parents' age.
Yeah.
And then when you try to hang out with people our age, you feel
I'm just like, what am I gonna talk about? You know, sometimes I think that I'm just like, fuck, which is healthy. Like, I'm okay with feeling anxiety or whatever those feelings are, but it's just funny observation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh shoot. For reference, we're laughing because Tessa's stomach just made a noise.
It was a cute one. It was like,
yeah. Like a baby cooing.
So that's fun.
It's frequent around here.
I feel like that happens if I eat rice. I've been noticing. And someone mentioned something about rice this weekend, about how it makes them have a stomach ache, and I'm like,
do you have a stomach ache right now?
It doesn't feel great. And I just had rice with lunch.
Maybe, I mean, it could just be rice in general, but I think if we could try preparing it properly, because doing the microwave rice from Trader Joe's, like, what the fuck is in that packet, you know? Like, if we prepared it with, like, you soaked it overnight so we can get whatever we're supposed to get out of it, you know, and then we rinse it, prepare it with butter and bone broth, and do that.
Yeah, I think that would
be like better for your gut.
Let's try
So
it.
we could try.
Let's try.
Okay. Well, anyway, so what's today's episode about?
Oh, well, today's episode is brought to you by Madison.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we were thinking that last episode we were talking about like a vision board sort of thing, and maybe we could do like an audible version.
Okay.
And I thought that would be cool, but also just like we could think of it too as like a spring cleaning, and what are we bringing into this new beginning?
Okay.
So go ahead. You shared some things with me earlier.
Okay. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, yeah. Okay. Something that I want to really work on this week. Like, it's Monday right now, and I want to bring in this week this sense of inner peace, because I think last week and the week prior, it was just like hit the ground running, right? You guys even heard me, if you listened to the last episode, cry on it for a second.
Yeah.
I was just feeling like a general sense of overwhelm and a lot of feelings of playing catch up, right? When you start a whole new life and you've got a new job and new everything, right? You just feel like you're treading water in a sense. And I felt like I could not go to bed and wake up without feeling anxiety. Mm-hmm. Like, I just would go to bed and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen tomorrow? Like, what unexpected, unforeseen thing is going to pop up on my agenda that I'm going to have to learn how to do? And I don't think that was helping me in any way.
Right.
And I proved to myself last week, like, no, you can handle whatever comes your way, and you don't have to have like anxious feelings surrounding the what ifs or what's coming next.
Yeah.
So I am this week really working on just staying really calm and chill throughout anything that it throws my way. And hopefully it goes as I plan. I mean, if that's your intention, you can pretty much always come back to it. So I feel like even if I deviate a little bit, I'll come back.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think that last week's episode was us working through like the stages of grief in a sense, or it's like us, that stage, it was only like a week, and I'm also giving ourselves like space, like we could feel those feelings again, but for the most part, we're not feeling like that anymore. And that was just us dealing with the discomfort last week. And it was like, how do we even do this? Because we felt obviously really uncomfortable before, but that was the first time in a really long time that both of us were like, whoa, we put ourselves in this place. Like, how do we even deal with this? Yeah.
Yeah. And like you know that you're in a good place, and you know that you want this, what you've created for yourself, but the transition into it is just sometimes a little bit rocky.
Right. And that was partly like what prompted me to have like these ideas for this episode is I was like, okay, if we can, and if we do create our own lives, like how do we want it to look? And like, how do we want it to feel?
Yeah.
Like we wanted this and we're doing it. So what's next?
Yeah. And it almost feels like a waste if I don't enjoy it a little more. Sorry. I just like, sometimes.
Yeah.
jean
Jean shorts. I can't.
Why did I do this again?
I don't know. Cause they're cute.
Yeah. And it just like, I wear workout clothes so much that I try to get into normal clothes whenever possible. But anyways, like I was saying, I just think that it's a waste if I don't enjoy the process of a new job and learning new things and exploring a new town. Like I want to make the most of it. And I don't think last week I was doing that. I think I was operating from a place of fear and just trying to get it all done as quickly as possible. And I'm trying to slow down and teach myself that it doesn't all need to get done right now. Like things can happen in stages. Other people can help. You don't have to juggle a million tasks all at the same time. That's my biggest downfall, I think, is I try to get everything done. And then my brain is split in 50 directions, and I'm not actually getting one of those tasks done
as well as you want.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even as efficiently as I could. Like I think if I just were to focus, I would be like, hey, now that's done. Next. Versus like answering a phone call, responding to an email, trying to, like it's just, I need to chill.
Yeah. And I think that it is helpful, like, to remember why we did things in the first place, because then it's like easier to come home to that when you're in the midst of like the chaos outside.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think about like us being tied up in like our current jobs or something, for example. And I'm just like, well, yes, that's like a real life thing, but like, why did we come to this town? Like to build connections, to like further ourselves, like expand in all areas, really.
Yeah. And just, I feel like enjoy more of our day and our environment. Like we would always rush out of our house on the weekends. Like anytime we had free time, we were like, Kate, let's go to Malibu. Let's go here. We didn't, besides spending time with our family, really hunker down and enjoy our home. Probably because we've lived there our whole lives. Also probably because it gets super hot and there's like nothing really to do. And so it's just like, I want to be able to balance my work life and my social life so well that I feel like they really are two separate things, and where it's not bleeding over if it doesn't have to.
Right.
Like why be so consumed with work? Obviously because it's new. I'm giving myself that grace, but like I'm really working on getting to a place where work is work and then like playtime is playtime.
Yeah. I feel like that's like very challenging for me, because I always like, I understand that what you're saying, because I think that is really valuable, but then I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's also the stage that we're in right now. Like my current job isn't like what I want to be doing forever. So it's like, it's easier than that at this time to separate that as just work, and like playtime, having your side hustle is something completely different. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually like relieving in a way.
That's my whole thought process around it, is like, it's just this. Like it doesn't have to be so consuming.
Yeah.
Because last week it was really consuming. You saw me I was like burning the candle at both ends, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm over here getting down on myself because I'm not like,
not working as hard as I
Right,
am. Right.
right.
And I'm like, no, you don't want this.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was, and it wasn't like that was being applied on me by anybody but myself. Like I was the one setting this workhorse standard of myself, and everyone else is like, relax. Like my boss is like, you don't have to get it all done today. Like it will come. But I put this pressure on myself also, I think, because it's new and I want to prove myself that like I'm a good, efficient worker. Look how much I can get done in a day. But we all know that that only can last for a short period of time before you get totally burnt out.
Totally. Yes.
So, yeah.
Agreed. Okay. Well, that was good conversation that we just had. We're going to circle back now, but that was definitely needed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to prompt like questions to like build this audible. Is
Yeah,
that right? Vision board.
Yeah.
So like, what do we want?
Yeah.
You know, like how do we want this season to look or even feel? And I know that obviously Tess and I are planners, and a lot of people are planners, and we try to plan out our lives, but it usually, or sometimes I guess, doesn't go as how we planned it.
Yeah.
Obviously, which is fine.
But I think there's a difference. Someone was talking to me, I think it was even my grandma, maybe my aunt, someone in my family was like, it's one thing to have goals. It's another thing to have a plan. It was my aunt. Because a lot of things in my aunt's life has not gone according to plan. And that is like barely skimming the surface on like really what has happened in her life is pretty intense. And so I would like her advice to me was like, you can have goals. Like I'm all for you setting these big goals and like having dreams, but loosen up on the plan a little bit because you're going to get down on yourself if plans change. And I'm sorry, honey, you're only in charge of a small percentage of the plan. Like you really are. Like you can work hard to line everything up, but in reality, there's going to be unforeseen outside forces that come into play, and you're going to get hard on yourself if it doesn't line up exactly how you had planned it. So like dream and set goals, but like please relax and enjoy the process. Like she's been so great and she's been texting me ever since we moved. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. Stick to it. Don't get like, she's sending me these reminders.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah. And I really need her voice of reason because it's true. Like I think you and I can get really caught up in plan. How are we going to execute? But like, that's cool, but also relax a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would agree. We need to relax, but also side note is that people saying that, like, I support you and like meaning it, I honestly crave that. Cause like we do that for each other, obviously, but then when we're both like in it, it's like hard to like, we obviously feel each other's presence of like, thank God we're together. But like, that is so rare. Also shout out to Maria. Cause you're one of those people who give us the support, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just like, damn, I crave like that, like motherly guide, you know, all the time. And I feel like if we're bringing it back to this podcast episode, I feel like that's also how I want to like show up in other people's lives, you know? Like it's like so typical or cliche. It's like what you want the most is like how you show up in life, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's good that if you start doing that, I think it comes back around for you. Even in like, not even that other people start showing up for you like that, but you start showing up for you because you're acting that way to others. And so you're hopefully going to start acting that way more with yourself.
Yeah.
Like that just becomes your whole MO.
Totally. Hopefully.
But
I feel like, yeah, in this season, I just want to do things differently, you know? Like even if we're reaching back to our words that we set up at the beginning of this year, like adventure for you, curiosity for me. I feel like we've done a pretty good job thus far.
Yeah.
But I am just curious to do things differently, you know? And so that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Not everything, because I don't need to do a full lifestyle reset.
Overhaul, yeah.
One thing at a time so that it's sustainable. But I just like want to see how things work. And yeah, I feel like as a kid, my parents would always joke that I would be that person that would like, they'd say something and then I'd be like, why? And then they say another thing and they'd be like, why? Yeah. And they're like, okay, you always calm down. I'm like, no, I still feel like that as an adult. I'm like, well, why does it have to be that way? You know, like I always want to challenge the status quo, like all the time.
I think that's a good thing. And I think that's how shit gets done and people change their minds about systems and processes that they have set up for themselves or whatever the institution may be. Like you being the why asker prompts people to look in at things closer and go, oh, well, I don't know why. Maybe that isn't as efficient as I thought it was. Let's change it.
Yeah. And I also feel like everyone's always saying that there's like this one way to do things. And I don't think that that's true.
No.
Like, I feel like I've proven that many times and many other people have proven that that's not the case. So I'm like, all right, what's the other way?
That just made me think of, as you guys heard last week, like I'm a manager now in our company, and we had like this thing set up where certain people have to go through these certain processes, and I sat down, I took the time to explain to someone, like, this is why we're having you do that. It's not because we want you to jump through hoops. We want this, like, this actually helps us in this way, and this way. And I wish that the why was explained more to me in certain areas, not of work or anything, but just in life in general, because I'm someone who, I'll respect it if I understand the bigger picture. But if you're just telling me to do this and I don't know why, then I'm going to be like, well, no, I don't want to do that. So
I get
it
that.
makes sense because you're a tough cookie to crack, and I feel like you don't comply easily. So
yeah, that's true sometimes.
you asking why adds up for me.
It does. Yeah. It all makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Okay,
All right.
this vision board thing.
Yes. Okay. So let's think. I feel like it's like hard to even narrow it down because we want a lot of things.
Yeah, but like, why don't you narrow it down to what is it going to be for this year or for this summer or for what?
Well, let's just focus on quote unquote now, which could mean like obviously in this present moment, but also like in the next few months, let's say.
Okay.
Or you can even just narrow it down to like this new chapter.
Do you have anything that you'd like to start with?
Okay, so one of the things, because I was thinking about this in the car, is that I've been sort of like, what is the correct word? I don't think that this is. What if this is a weird example? I'm not going to say that. Okay, so basically decluttering.
Okay.
In a way. Like I am feeling called to do that, like a natural spring cleaning, you know?
What? Like, we don't even own anything.
Well, and it doesn't even have to be like physical things.
Okay.
Obviously, okay, maybe like wardrobe, you could say that. But I feel like we did that with the move. But for example, like I was going through my playlists on the drive down and I just deleted like almost all of them. Cause I'm like, that's just not the chapter I'm in anymore. I don't even need this. Like, why do I have it? It's kind of like how people, which I obviously have old pictures too, but I remember people in my lives would like have photos of themselves 5 years ago and then they would look at them and wish that they had those clothes or that body or something, and they look back on it. And I am now also realizing that I'm not that kind of person because I throw out my journals too. So I'm just like over it. I'm like, I did that. I'm getting rid of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are your family members like that too?
I don't know if they are. I don't know. Maybe they are. Like my parents?
Yeah, like my mom.
We don't really have a lot of things. Like, if
like,
I'm thinking about my dad.
Yeah, my mom is a tosser. She's like, no, I'm done with this. Bye. And like gets rid of it. And I don't think she's very sentimental on like looking back at old things.
Yes.
My dad is the polar opposite. My
right,
dad
he
keeps
is.
everything. I'll throw stuff out and he'll go and collect it from the trash. You know, like he's that kind of guy.
Yeah, and I was there earlier today and there was things I had to pick up to bring here, and there was like some magazine or whatever, and I was laughing to myself because I was like, is he gonna keep that? Because it has your name on it.
No.
It was like some BS, like patio furniture.
No,
whatever
he's
the
not.
fuck.
He's
Okay.
not gonna keep it.
But I was just like, oh shoot.
No. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
No, but I just wonder, like, was that taught to you or is that innate?
I don't know. That's a really good question because to me, it feels better to just not have that stuff, you know? Because I even think like, and now I'm thinking about my closet and I'm just like, I could get rid of so many things because I don't
Even wear them?
I don't
like 'em?
wear them anymore. And like, what am I waiting for? You know, like the one chance in 2 years where I'm going to look at it and be like, damn, I wish I had that tank top still, you know? Like maybe that's happened like twice in my whole life.
Yeah. I every time I've kept something thinking I'll want this at some point, it has just sat there for years on end. And so I'm really trying to get rid of stuff. Like I don't want to get down to like 3 t-shirts, but that's genuinely all I wear these days. Is
I know.
I have a uniform.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to deviate. I try to put other things on, and I put them on. I'm like, nope, I can't even sit in them for longer than 2 minutes before I go change.
Yeah.
So what's the point? I mean, I guess I'll change my mind and don't want to wear that uniform someday. And I don't want to keep buying new clothes. But at this, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like I don't need that whole closet because I don't touch it.
Right. And so in a sense, like, you don't need it. And I don't know if this is like minimalist principles or something, and we're just like, this is like a natural like outcome for this new beginning. I have no idea, but I don't know why we do that. Like, why we hold on to things thinking that we're gonna need them. You know? Like, what? Actually, why?
I think, I think there's probably a few things at play, and I'm no expert, but maybe scarcity mindset of like, if I get rid of it, what happens if I'll miss it, or I'll never find anything like it, or
That's
I'll need it
honestly
someday.
true. And you know what's funny is like, I think about some things in my closet that I wore to like, and they're still relevant clothing pieces, but like that I wore to like an internship like a few years ago during college or something. And I'm like, think in my head, oh, well, what if I get a corporate job and I'll need to wear that again? Odds of me getting a corporate job are so fucking slim. And I've thought that for the last 4 years. So why not I just get rid of the tank top and someone else can have it that actually has a corporate job and they'll actually use it.
Let someone else enjoy it. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. What other spring cleaning were you alluding to? Because you're like, it doesn't have to be just physical, like wardrobe, but it can be.
Well, and I think we were touching on this topic a few episodes ago, but just getting rid of patterns that we don't need anymore.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Which I think is really refreshing in a new season in life, is not doing the same old things that you normally do. So there's that. And every day looks different for us. And this is obviously special to our circumstance right now. But I do like that. Like, as tiring as that is, I like having that like refreshing feeling of doing things differently.
Like, even as simple as, like you were saying, your morning, how you're like changing that whole thing up. Like, you're no longer eating a bar and drinking coffee and whatever, watching YouTube. Now you're doing this, and that. I think that's really smart. I also think having a new like daily schedule is really interesting too.
It is really interesting.
Because we're so used to working mornings, like at home and our old jobs, we were mornings for the most part. I mean, you worked every once in a while at night, but now it's like our schedule is so different. I want to take advantage of the fact that I have my mornings free.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
We went on a walk to the beach one morning last week, and we thought,
it was so
God,
nice.
what a treat.
Yeah, it
Why are
was.
we
It
doing
did feel
this?
like a treat. We're like, how did we never do this before this time?
Yeah.
Which obviously we didn't have the opportunity to do that, but it's just so nice.
Just take advantage of what you can while you have it, because shit can change so fast.
Yeah, and it is really interesting because, and this is just me maybe being like curious and asking why to everything, but it is interesting that we said that we preferred working mornings because we're like, oh yeah, working nights, like that's just not for us. But then when you're forced in a way to like change that and you experience the other way, you're like, wait, this wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, it's actually almost better than what we had before.
Yeah, in a sense, you know, like not waking up at the crack of dawn and like eating a bar for breakfast, you know, because you have to rush out the door.
Yeah.
Like having a morning to yourself and then having like a whole kind of day to yourself. And then you're like, okay, now I'm going to go to work for a few hours. Like really, I mean, I understand that we are highly privileged in that, but that's the way that our life looks right now. So I'm going to enjoy it and try to make it last.
For sure. Yeah. And even the fact that we get to like record this podcast because we have time in the day is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then obviously we set up our life so that that's a priority.
Trying to think of anything vision boardy that I could say.
Dude, I could think of like a million things. It's kind of like how you build folders like on your Instagram, or not folders, but like your saved things.
Tabs.
The amount of things I have in there, like I think that's why I have no storage on my phone at this point. Like there's so much shit in there. Like I have like compound, hip mobility exercises, recipes, hairstyles, like fucking everything. It's obviously categorized.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I just like that.
Well, okay. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of vision board is like, I really want to get on top of my health. I think my health has totally taken a backseat these past few months with my hormones, with my gut health, and that has like affected other things too. And I want to kind of take the reins back on that and make sure that I'm building time in my schedule to not only take care of myself on a physical level, like walks and taking classes and whatever, but also taking care of myself on a food and just relaxation level. Like I want nothing more than to just balance it, which obviously don't we all, but I feel like, wow, like I'm treading water, and energetically I feel heavy because my health is taking a back seat. And I'm putting everything else above it that I think front and center of my vision board would be personal health and well-being.
Yeah, I like that. And that's always like a cornerstone of mine, as you know.
Yeah.
And so it's perfect that we even live together and have each other for that.
But then it's hard because obviously like we have two totally different bodies, and what works for Madison doesn't work for me and vice versa. So it's hard to not compare yourself. And
that is so true. Isn't that so fucked?
I'm like, well, you know, Madison's skin and gut and hormones are perfect, and this is what she eats and does every day. Maybe I should do that. What?
Yeah, but that is just such like, I don't know if that's a part of the human condition, but it makes sense to do that. You know, because like it's kind of
you see it work, so why not give it a try?
Right. And that's good that you even give it a try, because how do we know? Like maybe it could be beneficial, but then if it's not, you don't have to feel bad that like, oh, well, that doesn't work for me. It's almost just like frustrating because you're like, fuck, back to the drawing board.
Yeah. But I think also another issue is that I don't like the idea of, you guys might even laugh at this, like copying someone. Like that is actually makes me cringe.
Me and Tess talk about that all the fucking time.
But like honestly, Madison and I, we like the same shit, and so a lot of times like we have the same clothes or the same shoes or like.
And like they say, you're like, what is it? The 5 people you hang around, like you will be most similar to them. It just makes sense. So like even if we showed up, like if we recorded in the same outfit, I wouldn't be mad.
No, but it also looked probably pretty different.
Oh, of course. Yeah. You know? And then that's another thing. It's because we're not twins, like identical twins.
Well,
so
actually,
then it's
I was
also
planning on cutting my hair to a bob and dyeing it a little bit darker. Madison dyed her hair. Can you guys tell?
Yeah.
She came in. I was like, oh shit, your hair darker.
Well, it's good because, and this is like so superficial, but whatever. If we're talking about dyeing my hair, is that it starts to get like so light because we're out in the sun all the time. Yeah. And like my sister and I have the same hair color. And then all of a sudden I see her and I'm like, how is my color 10 shades lighter than yours? And it starts to get like red. And I'm like, I can't do this. Yeah. So then I dye it dark. And then as it starts to lighten, I'm like, there she is. God, it's just not right.
Yeah.
But I like being in the sun a lot, obviously.
Okay. Vision board.
Okay. Back to vision board.
Yes, please.
Okay. So... Well, I think that something that is really nice that Tess and I have together is we always talk about like our compounds. Like I feel like that's like a very motivating factor for us. Like we'll like message each other on Instagram and be like, for the compound, like kitchen in the compound, we need this. Yeah. And I think that that's always on my vision board. Like owning a large piece of property with friends and family that we have houses on, and you know, we homeschool our kids, whatever that is. Yeah. Did you hear that noise?
Yeah, the garage door is rolling up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's okay.
But yeah, so that's a lot of my vision. I feel like that like keeps me motivated in times where I'm just like, can I do this? And I'm like, yeah, think of the bigger picture. Like, what do you want the most in your life?
Yeah. And in the question of can I do this, just remind yourself like, you're probably making it a bigger deal for most things in life. Obviously, there's major life events that are totally taxing and take you fucking down. But for most things in life, like starting a new job or moving or things like that, big life event, not downplaying it. But if you break it down bite size, like those things really are not a huge deal. And like you can do it. And you just need to like chunk it out.
No, I would agree. And then I also think like how cool that we even get this opportunity to do these things and like have the fresh start. And yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. Wait, I had a quote to end with.
Perfect.
I do. But where did I put it is the question.
Well, while you're looking for that, anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm like, damn, we talked about like a lot of random things in this episode. Like, how can we even bring it all back?
Okay.
But I think it's like the most the thing that I got the most out of this last week, which I feel like is a pretty good turnaround. Like I'm proud of us for like turning everything right side up.
Yeah, I agree.
Is I think that it's like very okay to go through all these emotions. And Tess and I talk about this all the time, is that like we're really good about like finding the lesson in things. And I think that that is one of the biggest lessons in everything, you know, is to just like always think about, what is this doing for me? Like, how can I take this and turn it into something fucking awesome?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I would say is important.
Okay, I found it. Also, I was half listening.
Oh, that's okay.
Whatever she said,
She's
I
like,
agree.
yeah, I agree. I said like Tess fucking sucks.
I would agree sometimes. Okay. This I saw on Instagram today. And not that we've been mad or in a state of anger, but I think that this is a good rule of thumb to live by if you find yourself not keeping your cool. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
So I feel like shit, not applicable right now, but I did resonate with it 5 minutes earlier. It said, you cannot see your reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anger. When the water's calm, clarity comes.
Totally.
And so for me, I swapped
That
out
literally goes with what I was saying
Yes.
when you weren't listening.
Oh, really?
So yes, go ahead on the thought.
Okay. Was just like swap anger with anxiety, swap anger with fear, swap anger with anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot see a reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anxiety, fear, whatever. When the water's calm, clarity comes.
Yeah.
Is that really what you said?
Well, I was saying that basically like the latter half of like when we're calm, like obviously now we can find the lesson in like what the fuck was happening last week.
She did say that.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mavi. But
no,
it
that's
is true.
perfect. That was very
That
applicable.
cements it in.
Yeah.
Just another way of saying it.
It is. It's a more profound way of saying it.
It's a visual way of saying it, which we know I relate heavily to.
Oh, also before we go, is one thing that was prominent for me, like a lesson or an action I took away from this past weekend is, well, first off, two things is that I really like being with people you don't normally hang out with. Like sometimes that's really cool because you learn something from them that you can like take into your regular day life and like share with others. I like that. And then another thing is I like saying like thank you a lot throughout my day. Like that is one thing that I took away from this weekend is because the person I was with or the people that I was with, like they make that a point to like say thank you because they're very religious. So like, for example, before a meal, they say thank you, or like before they drink like a fucking soda, they say thank you. And I was like, okay, like I want to try that. Like I saw that happening and I was like, let me try that. And it like makes you very present. Not that I'm thanking God, but I'm just thinking like for me, a bigger force than myself.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this feels good because like I am actually so thankful for everything that I have.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Aw, that's great.
It is.
Yeah. I can see how that's very grounding.
It is. And even just starting with like every meal you have, I'm just like, thank you. Like how lucky are we, you know?
Yeah.
Like for this coffee I'm having, I don't know.
Yeah. You can even go deep. You can go like, thank you for the computer I have that gives me access to work, to
That's
make
right.
money,
Or like
to pay
this
for
microphone.
Yes.
Like so many things. It's like such a simple practice, but it really does lift your mood if you're needing it.
Yeah. You just spend your whole day like, thank you for these pants. And thank you for this top.
People
and
are like,
for
can
this
you
hair.
shut the fuck up? Yeah, exactly.
Like put a muzzle on it, Madison.
No, but sometimes even if I'm like looking in the mirror and I'm getting down on myself, I'm like, and you know, I do this. So I'm just like, thank you for this body. Like, I'm so happy I have functioning arms and like functioning legs. And like, I love my skin and like everything.
Yeah.
So just a little, you know, really profound piece of advice to leave you guys with, obviously. Oh my God.
You guys, please make sure you are following the podcast, subscribed, you've liked, commented, shared it with a friend. Put our podcast picture above your bed to remind you
That's
of
right.
our presence on the internet and how you can listen whenever.
Yeah, we've had a few people say that they love doing that, so it makes sense.
Yeah. They actually have us as their home screen. So that they are like, oh yeah, the Cowboys exist.
Yeah, I need to tell everyone about them. It's so nice.
And then every person they meet, they say, hey, have you heard of the Conscious Cowboys? And it's crazy. Like, how nice is that?
Dude, everyone's like, are they serious? We could be if you do it. You know?
Yeah, if you personally do it, then we could be serious.
Yeah, then this would be true what we're saying. So
maybe you should.
Yeah.
We can send you like the actual image if you want like a higher resolution versus screenshotting.
Exactly.
Like just send it in the DM.
Yeah, because we wanted to do us a favor, you know? We don't need some blurry bullshit.
Yeah. Like make sure my pixels look okay.
Yeah, make sure we look banging.
Okay.
Oh my God.
That was
we gotta go. It's time to grocery shop and go for a walk. I'm so excited and
too.
so thankful.
Tell us, Madison.
Yeah, fuck.
You guys, thank you.
Thanks for listening. And if you stayed all the way through, we're just really proud of you. Thanks.
Wow.
Champions.
Yeah.
That's, you ran a marathon today. You should be proud.
Bye,
all right.
you guys. It's getting significantly louder.
Talk
we gotta
soon.
go.
Time to go.